A very good day to our Professor Dr. Zonira, and my name is Mitrren, and today I'll be sharing to you the factors contributed towards online impulsive buying behavior. And the presentation outlines consists of introduction, literature review, methodology, analysis, and discussion. And for the first is background. From this research, we are here to investigate the factors that is contributed to online impulsive buying behavior such as utilitarian value, hedonic value, materialism, and price. Online impulsive buying behavior is a behavior where it's defined an irrational behavior by the consumers. Impulsive buying behavior are purchases where they are not planned for, even though they are take place in browsing through the internet. And for the utilitarian value is defined as the value that a consumer receive based on the task related rational consumption behavior. Is where it's a set of traits of that related to a person's perceptions of object utility and functioning. For the hedonic value is a person's where they seek emotional fulfillment in purchasing the environment. Such as a result, hedonic qualities are defined as the characteristics that links to people's sensory appeals to their emotions and enjoyments. Hong et al. 2021. And materialism is, according to Schiffman and Canuck 2007, is personality traits that emphasize belongings as fundamentals to individuals to identify and success, which also defines as materialistic value as the notion that acquiring material possession is a primary life goal and also will be a key satisfaction for them. And for the price is where every living thing, whether unconsciously, is aware they have a cost in them, and marketers will take advantage of that in incorporate it into their marketing mix, knowing the consumers have a common weakness for the low prices, amazing deals, maybe such as promotions and Lazada, 1111, and is also about appealing to the proper target market with the right methods in marketing. And the research problem is where I found is about 47% of millennials spend beyond their means, saying by finance minister, which is recorded from the News Straits Times, which is recorded in this year, 9th of March. And Malaysian millennials are piling up debts and risking bankruptcy by turning into banks for loans and credit cards to support their life choices. And this is where, as of 2019, 300,000 Malaysian youths have declared bankrupt, with 20,461 cases are from the millennials. And the internet users in Malaysia is about 27.43 million internet users in Malaysia in January 2021. And the internet penetration in Malaysia stood up to 84.2% in January 2021, which is stated by Simon Kemp 2021. According to the Bank Negara, as I've stated just now, 47% of Malaysian youths are having high credit card debts. And this is a very striking indication of millennials generations that is lacking of financial prudence. And thousands of them are verge adulthood, are already burdened with rising debts and unable to cover their personal loans, including their residence, cars, credit cards, and other financial commitments, says the New Straits Times 2021. And prior to research, also indicates misuse of credit cards amongst the millennials cohort due to the stack of evidence of high cost of their credit borrowing. And this paper aims to understand the factors contributed to the online impulsive buying behavior. And this research is also helps to help relevant agencies to take necessary actions to address the problem accurately. And for the research question and objective, research question is, how does utilitarian value influence online impulsive buying behavior? And for the second research question is, how does hedonic value influence online impulsive buying behavior? For the third research question is, how does materialism influence online impulsive buying behavior? For the fourth research question is, how does price influence online buying behavior? And for the research objective, the first research objective is to determine the influences of utilitarian value on online impulsive buying behavior. And the second research objective is to determine the influences of hedonic value on online impulsive buying behavior. For the third research objective is to determine the influences of materialism on online impulsive buying behavior. For the last research objective is to determine the influences of price on online impulsive buying behavior. And this is my framework and hypothesis. And hypothesis, there is a positive relationship between utilitarian value and online impulsive buying behavior. That's for the first hypothesis. For the second hypothesis, there is a positive relationship between hedonic value and online impulsive buying behavior. And for the third hypothesis, there is a positive relationship between materialism and online impulsive buying behavior. For the fourth, there is a positive relationship with between price and online impulsive buying behavior. And for the research method for the chapter 3, for the target population, we have targeted generations from X, Y, and Z in Malaysia. And for the sample size, our study is expected to collect a sample size which is larger than 30 and less than 500, which is considered as appropriate for most of the research. Roscoe 1975, this is the rules of thumb. And for our research, we have already collected about 200 respondents. And the sampling technique that we use is non-probability sampling technique. Non-probability sampling technique is a technique where it's a technique characterized in testing the procedures where the researchers chooses to test the dependence on the emotional judgment of the specialist as opposed to irregular determination. And according to Mukesh Kumar 2013, some of the non-probability sampling techniques are commonly used explicitly in cases where it's not possible to use the probability sampling. The major difference is non-probability sampling technique is extent of bias in selecting the sample is not known. Nevertheless, if it is done carefully, there is chances of getting or acquiring a good approximation of probability sampling. And for the second sampling technique we use is convenience sampling. This is very convenient for the researchers who is now in a pandemic situation where the researchers are available to distribute their questionnaires via online and for simple understanding by coming up with a Google form and distributing to their friends and their families, to the close ones. And convenience sampling is characterized as a strategy to embrace by analysts where they gather statistical survey information from a helpful, accessible pool of respondents. According to Mukesh Kumar, convenience sampling refers to a collection of information from members of population who are conveniently available to provide it. And in addition to it, Mukesh Kumar 2013 also have mentioned that convenience sampling is more often used by the researcher in order to cover the large number of survey quickly and cost effectively. This is one of the methods that we have used to cover our research. And for the summary of measurement, we have taken the questions from sources from Siu et al. To 2020 and Wong 2010, and back to Rambabu Lavuri 2021 and Siu et al. 2020. And the type of scale we use is 1 to 5 Likert scale, and the questions we have is about a maximum of 3 to 5 questions, and the variables will be online impulsive buying behavior, utilitarian value, hedonic value, materialism, and price. And we can go proceed to data analysis. Okay, data analysis, the first point is about respondents profile, gender. Gender, from this table, we have able to identify that the frequencies is about 200 frequencies of respondents, and the percentage of male is about 43.5 and female is about 56.5. And there's a majority of females of 113 females, which is consists of 56.5 in our demographic profile, and about 87 males, which consists of 43.5 male of respondents, which is total up to 200 of respondents. Then for the age we have stated just now, we have mentioned just now that we have testing among generation X, Y, and Z, and the age range for the first is 19 to 22, which consists of the highest we got among the students, about 97 respondents and about 48.5%. And for the second range is 23 to 29 years old, which about 51 respondents, about 25.5%, which is second highest. And the third range is 30 to 35 years old, about 27 respondents, about 13.5%. And the second last is about, the range is 36 to 42 years old with a frequency of 13 respondents, about 6.5%. And the last is more than 42 years old, 12 respondents and 6%. And for the third demographic profile question, we have asked about marital status. So from here, we have able to identify that most of our respondents is not married. It's about 154 respondents is not married, with a consists of 77%, and married about 46%, 46 respondents and 23%. And the income is the next question. Here also, we have also stated the income, which is less than 1,000. And majority of our respondents are students, so they may earn less than 1,000. So their frequencies, their total respondent for less than 1,000 is 106 respondents, with the highest 53%. Then for the second range is 1,000 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit Malaysia, with the second highest of 30 respondents of 15%. And the third range, 2,001 ringgit to 3,000, with 21 respondents of 10.5%. And the fourth range is 3,001 ringgit to 4,000, with a 22 respondents, 11%. And the last is 4,000 ringgit, 21 respondents with 10.5%. And this is a filter question that we have asked in our Google form. How often you visit online website shopping platform? Here is to identify whether is the respondents do view or visit online website shopping platform. So for never, we have 0 respondents answered and 0% on it. And once within several months, there is about 36 respondents, which consists of 18%. And monthly is about 41 respondents, with is 20.5%. And weekly is about 65 respondents, which is the highest, 32.5%. And every day, it was a frequency of 58 respondents, consists of 29%. And we moving on to the descriptive analysis. From the descriptive analysis, we have able to provide basic information about the variables in the data set and potential relationship between the variables. And here is where we are able to analyze the situations among the utilitarian value, hedonic value, materialism, and price among the generation X, Y, and Z. In addition, above the table, the factors above mean and standard deviation were calculated, and the minimum and maximum of the constructs. And the minimum of maximum constructs is related to the study or being used by using 5-point Likert scale for the items of online impulsive buying behavior, utilitarian value, hedonic value, materialism, and price. And for the reliability test, we have indicates from the table. We have analysis allow us to use this to study the properties of measurement scale and to validate whether the variables reliable or not. So according to Yusachi 2015, has mentioned that if there's a general rule that is the Cronbach alpha has to be around 0.6 to 0.7, which indicates acceptable, and which any point at the Cronbach alpha is greater than 0.8, it's a very good reliability. So from our case, we have already achieved 0.8 and above, and this to compute from the level recorded from each Cronbach alpha. In addition, Cronbach alpha is computed with correlation between the items may vary between 0 to 1. And any Cronbach alpha, as I mentioned just now, with a value of 0.7 and above is acceptable. And for the correlation analysis, the table shows the results of the dependent variable, which is the online impulsive buying behavior, and independent variable, which is the utilitarian value, hedonic value, materialism, and price. Here is where the variables are used throughout the research to study the hypothesis. The highest correlation, it lies between positive 0.50 and to positive 1, and instead it will be a high correlation. Online impulsive buying behavior has a high degree of correlation with hedonic value of 0.526 and materialism with 0.586, and there's a moderate degree of correlation which lies of 0.3 and 0.49. So online impulsive buying behavior has a medium correlation with utilitarian value of 0.368 and price 0.336. Utilitarian value has a strong correlation with hedonic value of a value 0.561 and has a medium correlation with materialism 0.432 and price 0.448. Hedonic value has a high correlation with materialism with a value of 0.636 and said to be a strongest correlation, and the correlation between hedonic value and price is considered as a medium or moderate correlation with a value of 0.456. Then in addition, materialism and price has a medium or moderate correlation with a value of 0.420, and the main correlation table shows that the variables are significant at 0.01 level, and the rest of them are significant at the 0.05 level. And moving on to the regression analysis. For the regression analysis, the predictors are the constant price, materialism, utilitarian value, and hedonic value. For based on the table shown over here, 0.387 was shown on the independent variable that indicates 38.7% of variability for the online impulsive buying behavior. The remaining 61.3% is known as insignificance among the independent variable as well as the dependent variables. On the other hand, according to Cohen 1992, R square value 0.12 or below indicates low. between 0.13 to 0.25 indicates medium, and above than that values indicates high effect size. So from our research, we have indicates that it has a high effect size. And for the ANOVA table, based on this table, we have able to predict towards dependent variable, which is the online impulsive buying behavior. This table is used to test the overall significance, whether there's an effect on the table, on the independent variable and dependent variable. Thus, we can conclude that there's a significance of F value of 30.749 and a P value of 0.0 beta. And for the coefficients, this table is attached to share the analysis to divide in two categories, which is unstandard coefficients and standard coefficients. And by referring this table, we are able to conclude that independent variables are going to increase due to the standard coefficients and the positive values. And the possible values of correlation will be the range of -1 to +1. The negative value indicates a negative correlation coefficient, whereas the positive value indicates a perfect linear correlation. The online impulsive buying behavior and materialism got a moderate correlation with the standard coefficient of 0.408, and price and online impulsive buying behavior has the lowest correlation. For the hypothesis testing, for the first hypothesis, utilitarian value and online impulsive buying behavior, the first hypothesis is rejected since the p-value is 0.368 and is more than 0.05. Thus, the t-statistics also shows the results where there's no significance and positive relationship between online impulsive buying behavior. Thus, this hypothesis is rejected. And increasing utilitarian value will never affect online impulsive buying behavior. Thus, hypothesis 1 is not accepted. This could be because of the respondents that does not find online review offers are not useful information, and they are not satisfied with their online reviews to make impulse purchase. Certain people may face like trust issues in facing the online website platform, and many more. And for the hedonic value and online impulsive buying behavior, for the second hypothesis, the value accepted since the p-value is 0.007 is less than 0.05. The result shows that the hedonic value is significant and there's a positive relationship. Thus, by increasing hedonic value, it will increase online impulsive buying behavior. As a result, hypothesis 2 is accepted. And for the third hypothesis is materialism and online impulsive buying behavior. For the p-value is 0.00, which is less than 0.05. The results above materialism has a significance and a positive relationship between online impulsive buying behavior. Thus, increasing materialism may provide an increase also in online impulsive buying behavior. Thus, the results for the third hypothesis is accepted. And for the price and online impulsive buying behavior, the fourth hypothesis is rejected since the p-value is 0.336 is more than 0.05, and the results has no significant and no positive relationship between online impulsive buying behavior. Thus, increasing price will not affect online impulsive buying behavior. As a result, hypothesis 4 is not accepted. This could also because of the respondents are more preferable of quality more to price, so they are not attracted to the price offers given by the online or the retailers, so they may be attracted in having a good quality item than a low price item with a bad quality. And for the discussion of finding, the first is the effect of utilitarian value on online impulsive buying behavior, and the second is the effect of hedonic value on online impulsive buying behavior. The third is the effect of materialism on online impulsive buying behavior, and the fourth is the effect of price on online impulsive buying behavior. And we move on to the first, the effect of utilitarian value on online impulsive buying behavior. For our case, for our research, the utilitarian value has no significance and the hypothesis is rejected in this study. So there's a negative results between utilitarian value and online impulsive buying behavior. However, the results were collected from among students and they may simply choose any answers, which also could be a factors that could lead insignificance of variables. Furthermore, the data collected also plays a very big role that could lead due to the in order to collect the data, which also makes them to simply fill in the form. And for our utilitarian value has no significant hypothesis and is rejected. And the students who simply answer the question could be also a factor, as I mentioned just now. And nevertheless, research done by Zhang et al. 2018 has stated that utilitarian value has a positive effect among browsing behavior. And it's also stated that purchasers or persons may tend to take a fast decision or desire to have the items quickly. And nevertheless, research done by Zhang et al. Has stated about that there is a positive relationship between consumer browsing behavior. And the last is about based on Hong et al. 2021 utilitarian based online attributes significant towards online impulsive buying behavior. And the effect of hedonic value on online impulsive buying behavior. From our research, we have found out the findings that provided evidence and support for the research related to the hedonic, to the theory related to the hedonic value is significant predictors of respondents on online impulsive buying behavior. And there is a positive results between hedonic value and online impulsive buying behavior. And in addition, we also know that the respondents are most likely to trust the online reviews in the shopping website because of the effects or affects online impulsive buying behavior and most likely to influence them to impulse purchase online. And according to the previous study based on Zhang et al., the results of hedonic value on impulsive buying behavior is supported in the previous study. And the previous study of Rambabu Lavery 2021 stated that shoppers' hedonic value profounds affects shoppers' impulsive online buying habits, which also strengthens the positive online impulsive buying behavior, which also able to increase their satisfaction. We move on to the third hypothesis. The third hypothesis, we are able to find that there is a positive results between materialism and online impulsive buying behavior. The most of our respondents who is following up, we are able to find that most of our respondents are following up with the current trends and has a materialism attitude because of it affects impulsive buying behavior, or is most likely to influence them to be involved in impulse buying. And materialism has become the main pleasure of every consumer or customer which seeks to have everything they want, because most of them will feel a point of satisfaction and prestige during having a product or having a reputable car or anything which can show in terms of prestige or can show in terms of name and image. And due to this, it is important to study the relationship between materialism and online impulsive buying behavior. And the results of the previous study have also mentioned that there's a positive relationship with the online impulsive buying behavior on et al. 2021. This study is discovered that materialism can influence online impulsive buying behavior, which also able to affect and also help to influence them involved in impulse buying behavior. And we move on to the fourth, which the last one is price, the effect of price on online impulsive buying behavior. For our case, there's a negative result between price and on impulsive buying behavior. Hence, our case, the price has no significant and the hypothesis is rejected. This is because the consumer tends to go for quality over price, as I mentioned just now. And the data collection method also plays a big role where consumers, or sorry, respondents tends to not read the question properly and straight away answer the questions. And research done by Chen et al. 2020 has stated that the findings reiterated the significant findings and also mentioned that the price is an important factor to encourage impulsivity. For the conclusion, for the final results have proven that the hedonic value and materialism has influenced online impulsive buying behavior among the generation XYZ in Malaysia. And our research is related to factors contributed towards online impulsive buying behavior. Hence, this research is able to give awareness on hedonic value and materialism, which is capable to trigger online impulsive buying behavior among the generation XYZ in Malaysia. Adding on to the third point, the consumers have to understand what is their needs and wants in order to reduce impulse buying behavior, or else they'll be having lots of unplanned purchases, or they will be tend to spending a lot, and this will also lead to impulse buying. Although this study has provided several insights, there's several limitations and suggestions which also been provided in my thesis. And in conclusion, throughout the study, we are able to identify the factors that is contributed. And I've also understand fully that the research is also able to be beneficial to all the organization related to providing services, selling goods, to identify on how they should improve and develop to sustain in their business industry by having a research in studying the customers' needs and wants and what is their interest in order to build and sustain impulse buying behavior between them. And for the consumers, they need to know what's their needs and wants, or they will be tend to come up with more spendings. That's all from me. Thank you, madam.